All right, welcome in Buffs Nation to another edition of S2S Colorado Live. As always, I'm your host, Manny. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, share out as much as you can. Subscribe and like helps the show grow. Also, make sure to give me a follow on X at Manny_303, IG at 303_Manny. Catch me on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or whatever it is you get your podcast. So, yeah, a kind of a different week this week. With Colorado, with all the press conferences, who's playing, who's not playing, injury report, all those different things. But this is, it is a game week, but it has a different feel to it, I guess. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but yeah, this week it's been different for sure. So, with that being said, today we'll go over the Ralphie report, news and notes, Big 12 game picks, review the game picks from last week, and then keys to the game and my prediction for Kansas State or Colorado versus Kansas State. So let's jump right into things. So Ralphie report. This week we had Marshall Faulk. So I did see this a couple weeks ago, but official, I guess, right at this point. Marshall Faulk has accepted the position and will be the head coach at Southern. So good for Marshall Faulk. That's awesome news for him. Wish him nothing but the best. I think, as much as not a lot of positives to draw from this season, but I think that's one of them was the running back room. So interested to see what they do for the running back coach next year. But again, really, that's awesome, though, for Marshall Faulk. So he will be the new head coach at Southern. So, again, we'll watch him and cheer him on, right? Former Buff. So, now, if you didn't catch Coach Prime's press conference or kind of stepped away for a little bit, Julian Lewis will not be playing this weekend. It is due to redshirting. Coach Prime, as much as we wanted to see Julian Lewis, right, all of us do, this is what Coach Prime had to say. I got to do what's best for these young men. And that's what's best for he and his family is to elongate his college career by allowing him to sit out this week. Caden Salter will come in and start. Staub will be his backup. Now he gets another year, so you're not burning that from him. It's the best thing for the young man. The thing about these kids, if they ball out in 2 years, they're out anyway. So I just want him to have that option. So, again, I think with Prime saying that, and again, as much as Julian Lewis, right, he said he wants to play, he wants to do obviously, right, but I think that red shirt is just as important it's probably more important for him than it is the football team, right, at Colorado. So he still has 4 years of eligibility after this, as well as that grad transfer year. So Coach Prime also did say this. Somebody asked about if the family came up to him about it. He said it's not something that meaning Lewis and his family, came to me and said, "Hey, Coach, what do you think?" Sanders said, no, I went to them because he's a baller. He wants to play. He wants to compete. He wants to be involved. But what's best for he and his family is to retain that extra year. So, again, I think, sometimes it's right that these young kids, they want to play right away. They want to do all these things. But in long term, the long-term plan of things, I think it's best for Julian Lewis as a person just to save that year. So we'll see how this weekend goes. We'll see what happens this offseason. But, they have a cornerstone there, right? You don't have a quarterback. It is a really tough thing to be good. And Colorado has its quarterback moving forward. So I'm kind of bummed that he's not playing this weekend, right? We all go back. I think somebody asked on here when we had Jack Carlo on Tuesday's show about, those 2 drives he played against Delaware. If he didn't play those 2 drives, obviously he would have got to play. But again, you're never going to know how things turn out. I think the plan was to let him play more. And then the season kind of took a turn for the worse. You put a kid like that in there, it's a tough situation, regardless of who you are. And then you have somebody, you're going to Kansas State this weekend. I'm not sure on the injury report, but that's what let's pull that up while we're here. So diving into that, right, let's talk a little bit about injury reports. So kind of different here, but you're out, Stoutmeyer, and when was this one? I believe this was Wednesday's report. So Tawfiq Thomas, doubtful, Ben Fennesith, and here's your questionable, Jordan Seaton. Now, I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything about Jordan Seaton playing this weekend, if he's a go or not. So we'll have to wait and see on that for sure. But I am curious to see what they end up doing with Jordan Seaton here. So something for us to keep an eye on. But I do hope he plays. I do. Julian Lewis is going to obviously Caden Salter is going to need some protection there. And the way that it works is that left tackle is important, and he's just as important as Julian Lewis, and that's in place. So, and again, we'll see. Fully expect, right, is with the sounds of it, everything, and and again, we'll see what happens with Jordan Seaton this offseason, but I expect him to return. Now, let's dive into this. So we did our Big 12 game picks last week. Mine were actually pretty good last week, so I was pretty proud of them. So I went 6-1. So I had where we at review. So Kansas at Iowa State. I took Iowa State. Baylor at Arizona. I took Arizona. Kansas State at Utah. Took Utah. Oklahoma State at UCF. Took UCF. BYU at Cincy. Took BYU and Arizona State and Colorado. Took Arizona State at the end of it. Now the game I missed was TCU at Houston. I believe I took I did take Houston, and TCU won by 3. So those 5-1. What was I? 6-1 last week. 6-1 last week. This week is a little, man. This one's a little tricky. It feels like, right? And I know one's underway right now. Utah and KU. I don't even know the score of that game, but let's talk about this one. Utah at Kansas, or is it final? Did that happen this morning? Anyway, I took Utah. I took Utah this game. Again, I don't know if that. I think it started at 11 a.m. maybe. Took Utah. I think real tough out for anybody. The way they play football there. Just a real tough team. Then you got Arizona at Arizona State, big rivalry game. Man, this one's tough. Arizona as of right now is 1.5 point favorites, so 2 points. Man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with Arizona State. Just because I feel like they're at home. So give me Arizona State when it's that close. Take the home team. So I'm going to Arizona State there. I could see that one going either way. Houston at Baylor. Now, that one is tough too, but I'm going Baylor, -2.5. They're at home. So I'll take Baylor there. And then these next couple I think these are pretty easy, but you got Iowa State at Oklahoma State. Give me Iowa State. They're 13.5 point favorites right now. Oklahoma State is they're a bad football team. They did hire, was it North Texas's? They made a great hire though over the weekend, over this past week. So fully expect them in a couple years to be back on their feet though. Texas Tech at West Virginia. Texas Tech is 23.5 point favorites. Right, obviously give me Texas Tech. UCF at BYU. BYU is 17.5 point favorites. I like BYU here. UCF is, about a couple years still removed. But again, I do expect them. They played tougher than I thought they would this year. But I do expect them to be much improved next year and then going into the following year. And then you have Cincinnati at TCU. TCU is 3 point favorites. I will take TCU just because they're at home. And last week, they went into Houston. Won a rivalry game there in state. So I like TCU this weekend at home. Now what it looks like we're trending towards is a Texas Tech versus BYU Big 12 title game. They're both at the top, and as you've seen, Texas Tech plays West Virginia, BYU plays UCF. So again, that's what it looks like. Picking that game right now, give me Texas Tech. I really thought that they would run the table here. And they didn't this year, right? They had that hiccup against Arizona State, right? Baron Morton was out. So I fully expect Texas Tech to win the Big 12. I'm going to see what the matchup looks like, but I do expect them to win a playoff game. So, and again, we'll see what the matchup looks like, right? Those are my picks. I think Texas Tech beats BYU in the Big 12 title game. I just think that pass rush of theirs is that's no joke, right? And that D line of Texas Tech, just crazy the way that defensive line is playing. And then we'll dive into that a little bit more next week and see kind of, where we're at with that. Let's see. Oh, yep. Utah won. Just saw this. Yeah, Utah won. Cool. Okay, good. I guess. So I guess I'm 1-0. What was this? Does anybody have the score to that? I would figure Utah beat them pretty good if that were the case against Kansas. Yeah, OK State did make a good hire. Yeah, I can't. Oh man, now I got to figure that he is a North Texas's head coach. What is his name? Morris. Yeah, I don't remember his first name. Something Morris, but gosh, this is gonna bother me. Really, is gonna bother me a little bit. So here it is, right here. Eric Morris. There we go. Yeah, Eric Morris, very good hire from North Texas. If you did not watch North Texas this year, man, they played some good football there. So yeah, they did. They made a really good hire. Do you think Jacob Rodriguez has a legitimate shot at the Heisman? I mean, no, I don't. I just it's a quarterback or offensive award, right? Like even last year, right? We know Travis Hunter won it, but if he didn't play offense, I don't think he would have been anywhere near that award if he didn't play offense, right? And so I think it's an offense award, right? Obviously, everything does show that. But he's the best linebacker in college football, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, 31-21. Okay. Wow. I expected more for Utah to – I don't know what the spread was, anything like that, but yeah. Yeah, there's Neo. Hey, perfect timing. Let's go. Yeah, this is holy cow. Yeah, this season, man. This, and I plan to do a season wrap-up next week. Talk a little bit more off-season expectations, all those kind of things. Hopefully, those of you who were on enjoyed with Jack Carlo on Tuesday. Real good friend of the show now. Does phenomenal work. And again, make sure you guys are go check him out on sportsillustrated.com. He produces 3 articles a day, and they're good. They're very good articles every day, right? You would think that some are lacking. They are not. He does a fantastic job. So now let's jump into just my picks one more time. Utah, Arizona State, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas Tech, BYU, and TCU. That's who I have for this for this weekend. And then let's jump into keys to the game. Man, I'm gonna sound like a complete broken record here, but it is honestly, until this team can do these easy things, nothing's gonna change here. It is just, it's the same old thing every single week with this team. So I am the hope right now is for them to do these simple things that we keep talking about. But Caden Salter is starting. And again, the key to the game there, right, with Salter, run the ball. And so just diving into some of the statistics, team ranks, Kansas State gives up 171.2 yards per game on the ground. That ranks number 91, right? So, I mean, they're better than the Buffs, but that's not saying much this year. Read option needs to be a thing. They have to be able to do that, have to be able to run the football. This is just right. This has to happen this weekend. O-line needs to block its ass off. I think with Jordan Seaton out these past couple weeks, it's offensive line hasn't looked as great. And obviously you're not going to, when you lose a first round tackle, the best player on the team, you're not, a top 10 tackle in next 2 years from now's draft, I should say. You're not going to look as good, but at the same time, they got to block, and they have to stick with the run. Too many times we've seen this year that they're running the football, gets stopped a couple times for 2 yards, 1 yard, and they abandon it completely. You got to stick with the run, especially with Caden back there, right? And you got to get Michael Welch running downhill. Once you get him downhill, man, he's tough to bring down. He has the tendency of just, when he's falling forward, right? So I think that you got to get Micah going downhill for sure. And once you get him going downhill, it starts to wear on a defense. And, they need to keep a running back in there. And, I used to say this, I remember even Reggie Bush and Lindell White back in the early 2000s, they would just sub them out, sub them in, sub them out. Like, they never really got into a groove, right? They got to let one of these running backs get into a groove. You need, about 2 to 3 running backs that can carry the ball, but they have to, at some point, one of these backs has to get 20 carries in a game, right, at minimum. And, they have one chance left to do it. My hope is that Micah Welch gets it. My hope is that we just see Micah and Dallin this weekend. So hopefully they're able to run the ball, stick with it. You're not going to beat Kansas State throwing the football, right? So let's see. Caden's RPO reads have to be on point. He can't give up 20-plus yards on a sack. He needs to make smart plays. Yep. Step up, and then this is the end. Step up into the pocket, remain calm, and protect the ball. Yep, absolutely. And just throw the football away. If it's not there, just throw the football away. It is that simple. You don't need to take these horrendous sacks that are flip the field or out of field goal position. No more of that. And again, hopefully there's something learned. Again, this is the last game as a Buff. Don't know where he ends up. Again, wish him well wherever it is. But this is it's simple, right? It has to be like just throw the football away. And then if it's there, take off with it. And again, I think all of us have been, banging on that drum all season long. Just take off with the ball, Caden. Run, go, right? And so, preferably I would have preferred to start Staub this weekend. And hopefully Staub gets in. I guess if Staub gets in, it's not going well, but that would have been my preference. But who knows, So with that going on, but they gotta run the football this weekend. Second one, right? I say this probably every single week. Stop the run, right? And it has been a rough season on the ground. I'm almost curious now. I guess I didn't check this, but I am curious where Colorado ranks against the run now. I think I've just been kind of too afraid to look at where they rank, against the run, how many yards they give up per game. So they give up right now, rush yards a game, rush yards, 224. That ranks number 132 out of 136. Again, it's coming. It's coming this weekend. Tomorrow, they are going to run the football. Kansas State averages 170.7 yards per game on the ground. They run it 53% of the time. That number is going to go up a lot this weekend. I would expect somewhere around 65% of the game, 70% of the game. But you do have to make them one-dimensional. They're in, what they average in throwing it per game. Kansas State is 194.7 yards per game. That ranks 101st in the country. So if you can make them one-dimensional and make them throw the ball, you got a shot in this game. The Buffs have a shot if they can make them one-dimensional. And again, we have not seen it this year, right? And even under stop the run, no more missed tackles, right? Like, you guys have to wrap up. You have to make the play. And again, we just have not seen that. And again, it's the same conversation over and over again that we keep talking about. And again, you guys are probably tired of hearing me say it. I'm sure, you guys probably are even thinking the same thing watching the game. Stop the run. Stop missing tackles. Like, right. And then the last thing, though, they don't turn the ball over. So Kansas State takes the ball away 2.4 times a game. This ranks number 1 in the country. They are plus 10 in the country in turnover margin, right? Versus how many turnovers they have given away, takeaways. That ranks 11th in the country. Colorado right now sits at -1, which ranks number 75. So they have given it away one more time than they have taken it away. The Buffs have 6 fumbles that have been recovered by Colorado to 10 interceptions. And so they have, let me see, the Buffs have fumbled it 6 times, lost 6 fumbles, thrown 10 interceptions. They have recovered 9 fumbles to 6 INTs. So I think, because they're -1 there. So the Buffs, -1 in turnover margin. And if you look around the country, all the good teams are always positive there. Ooh, this is a good one. How many points have the Buffs got off turnovers? I don't know. I can think of, so Georgia Tech, there was the 3, and they only got 7 points off of that. They had another. That's a good stat. I wonder if it's in here. Let me just double check, because now points off turnovers. I don't think they had it. No, they don't have the points off turnovers in here, but I would expect that to be very low, just based off of what we've seen this season. The Buffs have not capitalized a lot off of the turnovers that they have caused. And if they did, it was mostly a field goal. Like, I can't think of one where they turned it over and went downfield and got a touchdown. I can't think of, outside of the one against Georgia Tech. So I can only think of that one, honestly. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. I'll pull that stat up. I'll find that stat. I have it to you guys in the post game tomorrow. Now, just to give you kind of some context on what the turnover margin looks like, right? So the number one team in turnover margin is Indiana. They are at plus 15. Texas Tech is at number 2, and they are plus 14. So, 90-something% of the time you win the turnover margin, you win the football game. If you look at the top programs in the country, they are all going to be towards that top 10 area of turnover margin. You look at all the teams that are struggling, they're going to be in the bottom, right? It's pretty common sense, right? So even in the NFL, those teams with the biggest turnover margin that are positive are the teams that dominate, right? And teams that do well. You got to make teams pay. You got to this is just kind of how football works. And again, the Colorado, it's just kind of crazy that they only have 10 INTs on the year, right? So I guess I'm having a hard time with that, and 6 fumble recoveries. It is that's not winning football, right? When you have a team like Indiana that's plus 15, right? So that's going to have to be worked on, right? Turning the ball over and getting the ball, right? See ball, get ball kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see what this turns into, what this looks like, but pretty, no secrets. It's been a tough year. So with all that being said, my prediction for the game this weekend is into the game at 17.5-point underdogs. Now, every week we talk about they can hit those 3 keys to the game. It's a win, right? And this week they have to hit all 3. I know last week I talked about 2 out of the 3. I don't even think they hit a single one of those last week. But I don't think they're going to hit. Gosh, this is tough. I think those 3 are really tough to do for this team. Again, that's why they're not a good football team right now. What I do expect to happen, I think if they can do these 3 things, though, 27-24 Buffs, do I think this will happen? No, I don't think they will do all 3 of those, right? Check mark, check. I don't think that's happening. I don't think they get this done. I have Kansas State winning the season finale in their house of a score to 34-17. And I think it's going to be close, maybe the first half for a little bit, first quarter and a half, and then Kansas State starts to blow the game open a little bit. Some turnovers probably end up happening. And again, hopefully I'm wrong, but I don't expect Caden Salter to start and finish the game. Not that he gets hurt, anything like that. Not wishing that upon him. I just think at some point they're going to put stop in. And I think, right, I just think this is going to be a rough loss. It's going to be, this has been a tough season. I don't know why they would go into Manhattan and win. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if the score is a little bit more wider than a 34-17, 45-13, something like that would be, wouldn't shock me whatsoever. But, this team is, they're struggling, they're reeling, I'm sure, it's not saying they've given up, anything like that, but I mean, no bowl game, nothing in reach for them. So I do hope, though, the seniors that are on the team and get to play their ass off. Hopefully they get out there and do their thing. But I think it's going to be a lot of what we have been seeing this past 4 to 5 weeks of Buff football. So let's see. Oops. Yeah, I think GDAR. Yeah, I think Ponder plays also. I was thinking about that. It's kind of like, why don't they just I think that was you who said that when Jack was on here. I wish they would just start Ponder, and it's. I mean, I am not opposed to that whatsoever. I am kind of curious though, like what he does actually look like. We've heard some things, right? Like over the summer camp, whatever you want to call it, training camp, whatever it is. We heard that though, like that he looked good and was doing this and that. It wouldn't have been a bad. They should have started him. I mean, that would have been really cool to see him. Chad Bolton says, do you think the Buffs can play a full game, or do you think they show up only for the first half? I don't think they can play a full game. I don't think, even against Iowa State, they didn't play a full game, right? And that's the best win of the season. I don't think they can right now. There's too many holes on this team to play a full game. Delaware, they didn't play a full game there. Wyoming, they didn't play a full game. I just don't think they can, and to think that they would go into Manhattan and play a full game it's just not going to happen, And again, I hope they win every game, but I just am, I think the season's been tough, and it is what it is at this point. But or do you think they show up only for? I think the first quarter and a half, and then Kansas State kind of starts to take the game over. Crowd starts to take over. So, that's just kind of how I feel this one is going to go. And then, I guess it depends on how many QBs travel to Kansas State. I hope they would take Ponder. I mean, I would love to see him get in and see what he has. I mean, I just honestly, it's not that I think Staub is better than Salter. It's nothing like that. I just think, let's see Staub or Ponder. Like we've seen Caden Salter. We've seen what he does. We've seen what he's capable of. We've seen what the offense looks like under him. Very curious to see what Ponder. I mean, that I guess, going back now, that'd be cool to see Ponder play and see what the Buffs have in him. So I would like him to change his number. That is the 22. That is rough to look at. I have a hard time with that. For some reason, it messes the whole game up for me for some reason. Even, you look at, right, I think Bear Bachmeier, he is so good, but I have a hard time watching him play quarterback because it just looks weird, right? So, but I don't know how many traveled or not. Hopefully Ponder did. Hopefully Ponder gets in at some point just so we can get a look at him. And then recruiting, I haven't heard anything on the recruiting front. Don't know what's going on there. I do know from the conversation that, when we had Jack Carlo on, we were talking about, that this is kind of the plan for the Buffs at this point is, right, and what Jack was saying was to hit the portal, right? Maybe not to this extent, but, the portal opens January 2nd. About a week or so from now, we will see players that plan to enter and, maybe have a little bit of a better gauge on what Colorado is going to be after in the portal. But this is kind of the plan. I think it was, what did Prime say? His press conference, they had 5 to 8 more individual high school kids that they're looking to get to sign. Don't know if that happens or not. I don't know who the 5 to 8 are. I have no idea. But that is what he was saying in his press conference. Again, that'd be great to sign all 8, whomever they are. Hopefully they can get a couple flips, some big time flips in this class on early National Signing Day. December 3rd, which is, what is that day? Next week at some point, right? Next week at some point. But so just kind of something to keep our eyes on, something to look forward to. But we'll see kind of what this game looks like tomorrow, what this offseason looks like, what the portal looks like. I am interested to see with the portal, with the one, the portal that only opens once, in January 2nd for 10 days or however many days they said it was, how many kids actually enter it, right? I do, from a roster building perspective, I do like that there's only one, right? But from one of the kid perspectives, that locks you in for a full year, right? If things don't go well during camp, right? And you make the argument as well that, well, hard work, let's see what you're made of kind of thing again. But we'll see what the portal looks like, what the offseason looks like. This is like we talked about, pivotal offseason for Colorado. Very, very pivotal offseason for the Buffs. I am curious what the staff looks like. Are they going to retain them in about a week, right? Just we'll see what this is. The most pivotal offseason Prime has had as the head coach. Darren Jennings says Coach Prime is underachieved. So here's what I think. I think just my take, right? I always like to give a head coach in college sports, you got to give them 4 to 5 years, right? Once they can build that foundation, once they're ready. And he brought his son, who was a fantastic quarterback in Shador, and Travis Hunter with them from Jackson State. So I think that put them ahead of schedule for that year, right? Last year. So I think they were ahead of schedule. And then this past offseason, right, last year, they missed a lot on these players. They came in. And again, I think that they should be focused on building in through high school classes and supplement, right? You supplement the roster with the portal. It's the same as NFL free agency, right? Those of you who follow the NFL, you cannot build a whole team based off of free agency, right? It's fool's gold, right? Is that that's kind of what's said in the NFL now. The transfer portal is a little different because we don't know what a lot of these kids are going through, anything like that. But I think they play with fire a little bit here. That should supplement it. I do think with Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders, they were ahead of schedule, and that boosted it. I think this year was a huge step back. So the team as a whole underachieved, right? As well as Coach Prime. I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you that, but they underachieved this year, right? And again, that's why we are where we are. I don't think the first year they underachieved. He took over a program that was dying. I think he overachieved in the second year, and now we're back to underachieve. So I don't think they're where they want to be, right? Nobody wants to be 3-7 or 3-8, wherever the hell we're at. But I do think this next season, right? He's going into year 4. This is that season that you're able to. This is the season that you're able to really judge him, and that's where I think I'll start being a little bit more harsh on him and the staff as a whole, right? Like I'm always 4 to 5 years with it to see how it plays out. Next year's year 4. So Darren Jennings says the injuries or miss on the portal, which was the bigger factor? Miss on the portal. The injuries were bad. Every team has injuries. Every single team has injuries. It's a next man up. Now, with that being said, right, you have injuries. Why haven't we built depth yet, right? So that's a miss on the portal, a reflection of that, right? Or a miss on the recruiting. But this past year, the high school, the class of 25, that class is phenomenal, right? Just the high school class. That is a very, very good class that they took out of high school, right? That is a phenomenal class. So do not get me wrong. It's that portal class, right? Like the two, Xavier Hill, Tawfiq Bayard, and, I'm trying to think of another huge contributor, John Slaughter, maybe. I'm trying to, there's not a lot of hits in this portal class though, right? If you looked at it, most of them missed. 3? And please comment if I'm missing one, but I think they missed a lot in the portal, and that just cannot happen. And again, that's part of the problem when you build a roster strictly based off of the portal, right? And again, I think they need to start trusting the evaluations. They need to start digging on each player, which they probably do. Again, Prime being away from the program last year, dealing with his health, I think that played a lot of a factor into it, right? And again, rightfully so. Like I always say, like you cannot blame him for that. That is not his fault. He did what every single person would do, take care of himself first. Because him not being here is going to do none of us any good, right? Like himself, his family. So I think that piece of it, but they just missed on the portal. So I would say the miss, because now the injuries start to take over and there is no depth because of the miss in the portal, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Neo says, yeah, I think next year we can really say something. This year was just an off year. Yeah, I really do. And I think you replace those guys, right? And again, they replace the whole receiving core, right? You replace that quarterback, Shador Sanders, and again, in my opinion, the best quarterback in Colorado history, right? Cordell Stewart, pick one, right? Those are the two best quarterbacks, Colorado history. And then they replaced the best player in Colorado history in Travis Hunter. So that, and then Prime being away from the program. I think, I think it was, gosh, I can't remember what his name was. He was the guy that came on the show from Wyoming, just fantastic. But he said that out loud. It's like, dude, you're absolutely right. And so that was a point early in the season where I was like, yep, that is the problem. That is the problem this year. But yeah, I think next year's the year that we're able to really, really judge Coach Prime. I don't think these first 3 years we should be able to, because last year they were way ahead of schedule. Darren Jennings says, should Juju have started day one? I believe so, because you can start the learning curve early. Yeah. I thought he was going to start day one. I remember last year when they got Caden in the portal, looked at his passing statistics, and I was kind of like, okay, maybe it was just an off year. Then I heard about receivers and offensive linemen transferring. So I was like, yeah, it was just an off year. But again, I don't know. Like, Juju's was, at that point, 17-year-old kid. I don't know what he looked like in camp. I don't know any of that stuff. So, they trust what they did, but I really thought Julian Lewis would be the starter once he signed. Yeah, and I'm one of the believers, right? It's almost, like that old NFL thing. Like, do you sit him for a year, when you draft a quarterback, or do you let him play and just get it out early? I'm one for just letting him play and get it out early. Regardless, right? The heat's going to come. This is part of being the quarterback for a Coach Prime-led team. This is part of it, taking over for Shedeur Sanders, right, at quarterback. I mean, I honestly believe that they should have started him since day one. So, yes, I do think he should have started day one. Let it get out of the way early. And all those early mistakes that you see from a freshman we don't really have to deal with a lot of it next year, right? He's still going to make mistakes. All quarterbacks do. But, right, some of these, and again, he didn't make a ton of mistakes. So, starting, which is pretty wild, right? Like, we watched him. I think he only had one. I don't think he threw a pick, but there was some stat I saw. It was like X amount of dropbacks, and he threw 2 interception worthy balls, which is pretty crazy for, true freshmen. So we'll see what that looks like, but he's been impressive, right? Julian Lewis, nothing short of amazing, right, for a true freshman. So, and dealing with the circumstance, and Jordan Seaton hasn't been playing, right? So I think it's been pretty awesome. Chad Bolton says the success of the first 2 years was not sustainable. I think that some of what we are seeing, the curve needed to level out. We need to build a foundation and an identity in this offseason. Yeah, I agree. I think it is right. The trajectory went from right, like you draw the line. Typically a trajectory line's kind of going like that. This one kind of went like that the first year right here, and then it just spiked, and then came back down to the average, right, to the median. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think next year's the year to judge Coach Prime, and if it has or has not worked, and see what this portal class looks like. Yeah, let's see. The strange thing for me is that Juju looks so much more poised of the QBs. Yeah, you forget you're watching a true freshman play, and a kid that should be in high school, right? Like, when you're watching him, yeah, you forget that a lot. You're like, holy shit. Like, even me and Jack were talking. I don't remember who commented on Tuesday, and it was like, well, like, you do forget that he's a true freshman. Like, he's an 18-year-old kid that should be a senior in high school, and that is not. You forget that with him, right? Like, the kid is just so mature, so calm, poised. Like you said, it is it's pretty awesome watching Julian Lewis. Glad he's a Colorado Buffalo, and right, that is the thing to look forward to over the next couple years here in Boulder is just Julian Lewis, and the arm talent, the athleticism, just he's the whole package that you want in a quarterback. Yeah, Darren Jennings. Yep, Peyton Manning threw 30 INTs his rookie year. Yeah, I remember watching him, and I was like, holy cow, this dude sucks, right? Like, but then you would see some throws and some things where you're like, oh, man, why doesn't he do this every play? But, yeah, and look how Peyton Manning turned out. I am all for playing him young and letting him, like, their first year, just let it get out of the way quickly, right? Even, Bryce Underwood there at Michigan, yeah, he's going to look that way, right? Like, you go over to Florida and you see DJ Lagway. Imagine if they would have put him in last year and started him the whole entire year, you would see a different DJ Lagway at Florida this year, right? So I am one to play him right away. Let's just get it going. Let's just speed up this process a little bit. They're going to struggle. I get you can ruin a quarterback early, but I really do think that they made a mistake by not playing not playing him early the whole year. And again, I guess, I should say I think they did, because we don't know what Julian's going to look like next year either, right? Like if he goes out, lights it on fire, does it even matter at this point, right? So we'll see. Humble Texan says he has a ton of heart, even against Arizona State. His first drive and last drive had the same energy. The Buffs need more of that type of leadership and character. Yeah, he had a run where he just lowered his shoulder and I was like, hey, like wife and I were sitting there. I was like, yeah, he needs to not do that. And they're like, well, he's being competitive. Yes, he is, but do not lower your shoulder. You need to slide and get down. You're going to hurt yourself doing that. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh man, hopefully he gets out. He did. He got up just fine. But you love the toughness, you love the grit, you love it all, but you don't want your quarterback doing that, So yeah, Julian Lewis, the future is bright. Future is bright. Why didn't Hayden not start at running back? Are you talking about last week or this week? I mean, and I'm just kind of curious, Darren, because Micah started, I think it was last week. I mean, if that's what we're referring to, this offense has no rhyme and reason. It has been missing all year. Just based off, all season. Okay. Again, just going based off of that, the offense all year has had no rhyme or reason. It has been, lack of a better word, a shit show. It has been chaos. It has been, why are we doing this? I don't know. I don't know. Dallin Hayden was the best back. He was hurt. He was hurt to start the year, if I remember correctly. But I do think he should have, once he was back, he runs so hard. And, once he gets in the open field, he can break it. Whereas Michael Welch is that sledgehammer where he's going to have a hard time going 80 yards, right? Like we've all seen that, right? And love how Micah runs. But I do think Dallin Hayden needed more carries. All the running backs needed more carries this year. So I don't know. There's been no rhyme or reason to this offense all season long. Even on the other side of the ball, there really has not been, right? Like even defensively, like you're running tons of cover 0, cover 1. You don't have the personnel for that. I get it. That's what you want to do. This is who we are. And again, I give them credit for sticking with it because there's, basically Colorado saying, this is what we do here. We run man-to-man. This is our identity. Okay, so, I mean, hopefully that makes sense. Now, they didn't have the personnel for that, but, right, they don't. It is cool kind of like that this is who we are. So we know who they are on defense. Are they good at it? They weren't good at it, but we know what they're looking for. G says, when Juju and Salter stand next to each other, they seem to have the same build, which is strange considering one is high school age and other in 5th year college. Yeah, it is interesting, right? That is, I guess I never really thought about that, but it is pretty similar. And the crazy thing is, it's almost like, you guys tell me what you think, but even at the game, right, I've seen Julian against West Virginia on TV, but he looks faster than Caden Salter when he takes off with the ball. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the decision-making, what you guys see in college, but it wasn't. To me, there's been no significant drop-off in Julian running the football. It looks better to me than it did with Caden Salter. Yeah, the speed has not been a factor. It looks like Julian, he'll make a couple reads that are bad, but again, he's a true freshman. But when he's in the open field, he looks a lot quicker and faster than Caden Salter did, which that is supposed to be his, what he does, his MO, right? But not, I don't know, just kind of curious with that. He didn't add a lot of. Julian Lewis, in my opinion, is better in every single one of those places. So, yeah. Dallin should have had at least 15 carries a game. Yeah, I would say 20, right? He should have had 20 carries a game. One of the running backs, Simeon Pratt, whoever it was that was running the football, DeKalen Taylor, they got to stop sharing the football so much. You got to establish a back that is your go-to back. I don't like how they interchange it. I don't like how they do that. It feels like you can't get into a rhythm with the offense as a running back, right? You got some of these running backs, right? Some of these players, they get better as the game goes, right? Like at Boise, right? Look at Ashton Genty, right? They handed him the ball so many times where he would get like 2, 3, 1, 4, 1, 8, 7, 12, 15, right? And then as the game kept going, that's when you started to see 20, 50, 60, right? 30. I just think that these running backs need more carries, in my opinion, right? You just got to stick with one. I don't like the 4 or 5. Again, it's coaching philosophy at that point. It just doesn't work for me. I would rather have a bell cow. Then you get your back in there to spell, right? You need a break, or here we're running a pass, whatever. This one pass protects better, or whatever it may be. But if you can let one of them develop a rhythm, I think that would be the way to go moving forward. Yeah, I was expecting Salter to be fast, but he is not fast. I know. I was expecting the same. There were some of those runs where it was like, there was the one against BYU. It got called back because of that shitty call for the holding that was on O. They shouldn't have. It had no impact on the play. It was dumb. Yes, it was a hold, but it was just like no reason to call it. He was not catching him. But Caden Salter, I thought he was gone, and he got caught. That was where and I kind of was thinking that beforehand, but that's kind of where it sealed it for me, where I was like, he's not as fast as we thought he's not as fast as I thought he would be. And then, again, it starts to question is, what does he do better than Julian at this point, right? So, yeah. So I think that ties back up to the question about should they have started Julian before him? He doesn't do anything better than Julian, in my opinion. Best position for Cam Michael. Oh, that's wide receiver. But they do got to figure out a way to get him the ball in space. I don't know why they don't run more go balls to him. Right? That dude has like track speed, right? Like there's fast football speed and track speed. That dude got track speed. I don't understand it. Maybe, there's something in practice that we're missing. Maybe there's whatever may be, but that dude has track speed. Looking forward to him next year, right? Hopefully he's able to get on the field and just run those go routes, man. Or, he's one of those dudes too that could take a 2-3 yard slant 80 yards the other way, right? Like he's one of those guys, right? You run a jet with your jet sweep motion, get it to him, give him the ball through a jet sweep, and he gets containment breaks and he's gone. Like Cam Michael, I feel it's receiver, but I think I don't like him at running back. He's just not that built to play running back. He looks like either a wide receiver, I think is the best, but he looks like a wide receiver or DB in my opinion, right? Like there's that look that you have to have as a running back. I don't think that's the best position for Cam. I'm not saying he can't play that. I know he played it in high school, but man, I would love to see him just run a go route. Julian throw it up, whomever, someone throw it up, let him run underneath it. Throw it as far as you can, right? Let Cam run underneath it. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I think that would be the best position for Cam Michael. And hopefully that is how they use him next year. But I'm a big fan of his, have been a big fan of his. I thought he was going to get a lot more burn this year, and he didn't. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with him next season, what this offseason looks like for him. I think this is going to be a weird, different offseason as we get closer. I don't know what it's going to look like, as far as the portal goes. But yeah, very interesting. Make or break offseason for this team, for Coach Prime. New AD needs to be hired, right? There's a lot of change, I think, that is on the way this offseason. And again, I love Cam Michael as a player, so I hope he's one that comes back and does not hit the portal, right? So again, I don't know who it is. I don't know who they're talking about, but yeah. Yeah, I saw. Marcel Reed is down. Oh man, I like Marcel Reed. I was like rooting for him. Is it a knee, ankle? What is it? What does it look like? That sucks. Gosh, that's awful. Hopefully it's not bad. Hopefully it's just a cramp. But if he's down like that and you're putting it on here, it's not a good sign. I hope he's okay. Man, that sucks. I love watching Marcel Reed play. If you guys have not watched him play for A&M, man, that dude can play. Looks like an ankle, looks like leg. Oh, that sucks. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go watch right after this. I hope A&M beats the hell out of Texas. But man, that really sucks though. Hopefully he's okay. Shit. Or just a mild sprain or something like that. Oh man. All right. So tomorrow, game kicks off at 10 a.m. We'll be live right after that with the post game show. Oh, he got up. Okay, thank God. All right, good. I'm gonna go check it out. Gosh, thank God. All right, I'm gonna go check that out now. But yeah, make sure to check us out tomorrow after the game. It'll be our last post game show of the season. Big off season ahead. We're gonna cover it. I'm gonna cover it the whole off season as we go. And we'll talk about these things in real time as they happen. So, but again, I do appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you guys all had a great holiday yesterday. If you do celebrate it. If not, just hopefully you're off of work and we're able to enjoy your time off. But we'll be live tomorrow after the show. Make sure you guys check us out. Yeah, Shador, baby, let's go. Yeah, excited for Shador as well. It's supposed to be snowing, so we'll see. We'll see how that looks. But I do appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Please make sure to you hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. The show is slowly but surely growing. Make sure to follow me on X at Manny_303, IG at 303_Manny. Any of your major podcast platforms, check me out on there. Follow on there. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow after the game. Like Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter said, "Go Buffs, baby." I forgot to do that with Jack. I had him do it last time, so I spaced it. But all right, we'll catch you guys tomorrow after the show. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and yeah, let's go Buffs. Go Buffs tomorrow. Finish this thing off right. All right, have a good evening.